Hello guys and welcome back to another Paint.net tutorial. That's right, it is officially back. I am once again making videos, and this is not some sort of December Fool's, like April Fool's joke. This is an actual proper Paint.net tutorial that I'm going to be doing now. So it is back, it is officially back. I'm just going to take a bit of time, not too long, to explain to you guys why I haven't been making tutorials, because I feel like a kind of slight sort of apology is due on my part with regard to these things, because I haven't been making tutorials for almost 3 years now. There is a reasonable explanation to that. So the reason I've been absent is because there's been a lot of changes going on in my life, and I know that, there are people out there who are still able to make YouTube videos despite the fact that they have changes going on in their lives, and their schedule isn't disrupted by things like that. But that's not what I'm like. I like to, YouTube for me, it's obviously important. I enjoy making these tutorials, but I obviously have other priorities. I prioritize other things as well in my life. So, I'm not saying that these tutorials are not important and that they're like on the bottom of my list of priorities, but when things do come up, I do tend to kind of take care of those things first. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been taking care of stuff, and things have been happening. I haven't been able to make these tutorials. Like, literally, so many things have prevented me from doing them. I literally haven't had time. There was a time when I wasn't sure whether I was ever going to make another Paint.net tutorial, but I have kind of secretly been planning. I've been opening up sort of WordPad documents, planning out scripts for future tutorials, and finally, this close to New Year, it's literally, when I'm recording this, it's literally New Year's Day, December 21st, 2017. December, so I think it's roughly been 3 years, almost 4 years since the last Paint.net, so it's been a massive gap, and I'm very sorry because you guys have been posting like a lot of comments, requests and stuff. I'm very sorry that I haven't been making tutorials, but I've obviously got other things to do in my life, and there's been a lot of changes, but now things are kind of, I'm able to do them now, so that's the kind of that's the kind of point that I'm trying to make here. So yeah, the world has changed, everything has changed, the Paint.net itself has changed. The guys who make the software have been updating this piece of software constantly over the past couple of years, and lots of new updates have come out. There's like new features that I've been trying out. I have been active on Paint.net. I haven't been making tutorials, but I have been making stuff with Paint.net. So I'm obviously still used to making stuff with it. So I'm still like pretty experienced. So you shouldn't really worry about that. So I've been getting a bunch of requests, but I still need more. So if you guys want to know how to do something, if you have something to do, some sort of design stuff, or you want to like create something with Paint.net, something you want to ask me about, feel free to ask in the comment section, because these videos basically consist in a major way of requests from you guys. So you guys asking me how you want to do stuff. So I would be very thankful if you guys posted more requests. I do have a huge list, a huge document, like a huge WordPad document of all the stuff that I want to do, but I also need more requests because I'm going to run out if I don't get any. So that was a bit of an explanation of what I've been up to. The world's changed massively, but I'm back. I'm back as usual, and hopefully I'm going to be starting like a whole new schedule now. A new Paint.net tutorial is going to be coming soon, so I'm not going to wait another 3 years to release the next one. I believe this is the 9th Paint.net tutorial, so we're going to have the 10th one next. I know that I promised you guys that I was going to make a YouTube special, so I'm going to be showing you how to make channel banners, avatars, icons and stuff. However, because so much time has passed, I thought I would instead do a couple of normal requests, so just regular normal requests, because I feel like to make a YouTube special, that would take some more preparation. So the YouTube special is going to be coming like in about two weeks, probably 2 weeks. Not 3 years, so rest assured, just it's fine, don't worry about it. I'm not going to take a massive break in. So without further ado, I am going to start the tutorial. I just felt like an explanation was sort of necessary. I just felt like an explanation was sort of necessary on my part to explain where I've been. So without further ado, I am going to get back to Paint.net. So I am still familiar with this, as I said. I'm not rusty at all in my knowledge. I am very fresh. I've been doing Paint.net related stuff all the time because you know a person does need to edit stuff if you know if a person does stuff with computers. So yes, so I've been receiving a couple of requests from you guys. Um, one of the things that I've actually been requested to do, and one of the things that I've been wanting to do for a while, is blending modes. So this is if there is like a leveled tier of stuff, if there's like a if there's like a ladder of like difficulty and pain on that, I think blending modes is kind of in the middle. You know, it's not a basic thing, but you don't have to be an expert to do it. So I thought I'd leave it until like the later tutorials, and it just got pushed back. But finally, I've got around to doing it. So I'm going to show you how to do blending modes. So basically, blending modes heavily involves layers. So we're going to be doing a lot of layer work today. So basically, blending modes do much as you know it says in the title. Blending modes blend two layers together using like a certain set of features that Paint.net has. So if you have two layers and you just put them on top of one another, and for example they're two landscape pictures of, for example, two forests, or like mountains and a forest, the top layer is going to be visible, and the bottom layer, unless you've adjusted the transparency, is going to be it's not going to be visible. So the top layer is obviously going to go on top because it's layers. It's like putting two pieces of paper on top of one another. You're probably not going to see the one on the bottom fully anyway. But with blending modes, you get to blend the two layers together using some sort of special effects. So you can sort of burn the two layers together. You can sort of you can merge the two layers together so that both features of both layers are visible. And there's lots and lots of layer blending modes. So that's something I want to show you guys. So let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see, the picture has changed. So we are going to start doing blending modes. And for blending modes, we need a minimum of two layers. Obviously, you can actually start doing blending modes with multiple layers, but to show you an easier example, a kind of more basic example that anyone can do, I'm going to show you an example using two layers. So this is layer 1. This is like a city landscape. I just searched city landscape at night on like Imager, on image search. And this is like one of the things that pops up. This looks quite good. It's HD, it's quite clear. You can see all the windows at night. I'm not sure what city this is. It looks very American, maybe like Chicago or Boston. I don't know because I don't live in America. It's definitely not London, though it doesn't look very English at all, judging by the skyscrapers. So what you need to do in blending modes is you need two layers. So as you can see right now, I've got one layer. So to add a new layer, I'm going to go to my layers tab, and I am going to click add new layer, this little green plus button with the little layer square next to it. So that should start working, and there you go, we've got layer 2. Alternatively, if you want to be more of a kind of expert style sort of person on Paint.net, you want to show off your you know, hotkey skills, you can actually press Shift, Control and N to make a new layer. But if you don't want to do the old kind of hotkey, you know, pro stuff, you can just click the good old add new layer button. So I've got a new layer, and I've actually went onto image search and searched for a second image. So the second image is going to be of I'm just going to paste it here because I've already copied it from the internet. So it's going to be of this random woman in a cafe. So for those of you, some of you might have been expecting me to paste Boris Johnson on here, but I didn't think that it was appropriate for this occasion. So I just pasted a picture of a woman in a cafe. Now you're probably wondering why I did this. Now the reason I did this is because sometimes when you go to cafes, you see these pictures, like these sort of artistic pictures of, like, you know, city landscape, sort of Italian rustic background walls. I'm not sure whether you've ever been to a cafe like this, but at least here in the UK, you get lots of cafes that try to look like either American cafes or Italian cafes. So you get like a picture of like an old Italian man sort of hunched over like a bowl of coffee, like brewing it, and you've got like text that says, oh, you know, we've been brewing this coffee in this family recipe for hundreds of years. I'm not sure how much of that is actually true, but it does look quite kind of nice when you sort of sit down next to it. So they have pictures sometimes of like city backgrounds to make you feel like you're in America, even though you're in like a tiny little British town, and they have like a picture of like a woman drinking cafe looking kind of thoughtful. So this is what I'm trying to go for here. So I'm gonna just put this here, and I am gonna put. I'm not gonna resize the image. Well, what I can actually do is resize the image so that it fits the whole sort of background image of the city as well. But I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna just put it here in the middle, and you'll see what I'm gonna do here. So deselect the image using the deselect tool. Just click that. There we go. So now what you have to do is go to your layers little window, click layer properties down here in the bottom right corner, and now you have to go to blending. This is I'm actually doing this for the first time. I've never used the blending modes before because you can do a lot of stuff in Paint.net without blending, but blending is just like a cool little thing. So you can click it, and as you can see, there's loads. There's at least like 12, 15 blending modes that you can see here. So there's normal, multiply, additive, color burn, color dodge, and like lots more that I'm not going to list because that would be very boring and repetitive. So you can experiment with lots of layer blending modes. You can do whichever one you want, whichever looks best. There are some blending modes which make the top layer more visible, and there are blending modes which make the bottom layer more kind of profound and visible. So I'm going to click multiply first. I'm just going to go and listen now. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So this particular blending mode kind of makes the face of the woman vanish almost completely. So this isn't very good. I'm sure it works for other pictures, but for this one it's just not very appropriate. So so if you just click additive right below multiply, the woman becomes more visible. Color burn, again, not very good. Color dodge, that's a little bit better. That actually looks more like the sort of cafe pictures that you get. Reflect, ooh, that looks weird. It looks like a face has just burned into the landscape. That doesn't look very coffee shop-esque, let's face it. Glow, that looks good. That makes the woman very visible. It's almost as though I've just made the opacity of the layer kind of lower by dragging the opacity down. Okay, so overlay, again, not very visible. Difference, that looks very strange. That looks kind of matrix. Matrix? Did I just say matrix? I meant matrix. Sorry, I can't talk. Negation, again, very kind of Neo-Matrix-esque. I don't know, Morpheus is just going to appear out of nowhere in a minute. No, that looks a bit too kind of modern. That's not something that you'd see in a cafe. Darken, not very good. Yeah, that looks okay. And XOR, I've never used this before. Oh, cool, that looks horrible. If you saw that in a cafe, I'd suggest that you leave immediately because the cafe is going to be horrible, and you don't want to drink a coffee next to a picture like this. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is either I'm going to do additive or color dodge. Looks quite good. Glow looks very good. I think I'm going to settle on glow. I think glow is like one of the best blending modes. So I'm just going to let you guys see the difference that's actually makes. So this was the picture before I added the blending mode effect, and this is the picture after. So this looks very much like the sort of picture that you see in a sort of cafe with the woman, you know, sitting before a landscape. It's supposed to make you feel like as though you're in like New York or some sort of distant American land. I'm not sure how successful it is in making you feel like that, but it looks good. So okay, right, so this is the blending mode that I'm going to do, but I'm still not finished because we can actually kind of tweak it a little bit by, you can go to the again, you can go to the layers, the layer properties tab, options window here. You can lower the opacity on the top layer by lowering the opacity bar. Obviously, I've been doing this nearly every tutorial, messing around with the opacity. It's a very useful tool for Paint.net. I think it's one of the most useful tools there is, to be honest. So I can lower it down to make the woman less visible. I think 195 looks okay, but you can just drag it all the way up and just leave it as it is. But I'm gonna 225 is okay, I think. Now what you can actually do is what I'm going to do is, because there is a sort of you can see that the woman, the picture of the woman has a border around it, and it kind of looks, it doesn't actually look too bad if I just left it like this. It looks kind of artistic, you know, sort of borders around the images, you know, borders left in. But I'm like a sort of person who likes everything sort of neat and kind of, you know, tight, like sort of okay looking, like on the spot. So I'm gonna show you two ways of doing this to make the image look more neat and sort of finished. I'm gonna add a black outline to the image. First of all, I'm gonna click the shape tool. So you can click this on the tools window, and I'm gonna click this. Now this should be on the shape outline option by default. So this should be on this option. Okay, so now I'm going to add a black outline to the image. So what you're going to do is, so this should be on by default on the draw out shape outline, so I'm just going to click it just in case it's not on default. I think it should be on default. So you just got to do the black outline, and you can actually adjust the brush width of your outline, so you can make it, so as it is, it's very thin. If I just do that, it's hardly visible, you can hardly see it, so I'm going to make it thicker by increasing the brush size on these little two adjustments, these plus minus symbols. So I'm going to increase it to about 20. I'm just trying to, oh, that's very big. Also, one more thing that I forgot to do is you actually have to make a new layer here, because if you add the outline now, it's going to take on the blending mode of the current layer, so it's going to mess around with your image. So you're just going to add a new layer. Sorry, I forgot to do this. Add a new layer, keep your shape tool up, and just make a new outline. So I think, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I think I might just decrease the brush size. I think I made it a bit too big. I think I'm going to go in 17. I think that should be good. Okay, I'm going to undo that, because that's not something I'm happy with. So you can leave the bottom outline in, but I'm just going to drag it all the way down so it goes under the canvas. So just click the rectangle select tool to deselect your, shape thing. I think that looks quite good. I think that looks like a sort of framed image of a woman is over the city landscape, but it's still blended in, so it looks like the kind of stuff that you see in a cafe. It really does. Like, I don't know, like if you come to I don't know, you've probably got these in America. Like, what am I kidding? Who am I talking to? You've probably got these all over the world, like pictures in cafes of like city landscapes. I don't know. You can actually make more borders. Sorry, you got to select the shape tool. You can actually make more black outlines to make it look even more kind of, cool, sort of cafe-ish. I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to go in a cafe. This can just go to the background of a video. This can just be like a cool graphic to go on a website, to advertise a coffee shop. This can go anywhere. You can use this for anything. Like the coffee shop thing is just an example for you guys. So I added a second outline to make it look more kind of cool. Go to the shape thing again, maybe add another outline. Just go back to shape tool, deselect the selection that I just selected by accident, sorry. Yeah, you can make another sort of frame. You sometimes see these like pictures, you can buy them in shops where you have like you have one picture and they like divided it up into multiple frames, and then you put it up with like each picture on the wall. I don't know. Again, might be a UK thing. It's probably not actually. I think you can get them in like IKEA, but this looks like a kind of multiple frame. I don't know. I'm not really happy with this. I'm gonna undo this. So I think this looks good. So this is the finished product. So this is a kind of blending mode demonstration picture where the picture of like a woman drinking coffee. There's like another woman over there in the background, and she's like drinking coffee. I think she's got like little sachets of sugar in like a little plate over there. And then like the city background of it, cityscape, and that. I think this looks very good. This was all done using blending modes, a bit of transparency, and some shape tool work. So this is I used the shape tool to frame it with black outlines, but what you can also do is you can just have the picture of the woman sort of fade out. So now I'm going to show you this. This is the second way to make the picture look kind of finished. You can actually just go to the rectangle select tool and just select the sort of top, like a top bit. It doesn't matter if you get a bit of the woman's head like caught in the selection. That's fine. That's not really a problem. So what you can actually do here, I'm just thinking of what tool I'm going to use. I'm just kind of winging it a little bit, but don't worry. You are an expert, Hans. I am good at this. So what I'm going to do, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Gaussian blur tool, another tool that I use a lot. It's an excellent tool. It's one of the best tools I've been on it. So I'm gonna go back to the layer of the woman holding the coffee cup, and I'm gonna do this rectangle selection. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna go on effects, and then I'm going to go on the photo tab and not photo, blurs, not the photos tab, but go to effects and go to blurs. Sorry, I made a bit of a mistake, and go to Gaussian blur. So just get that up and blur it out a little bit, and that should kind of blur the woman drinking the coffee into the cityscape so that it looks more like one picture instead of one picture on top of another. You can also just resize the picture of the woman, so that it fits the city landscape. But I wanted to make it more sort of artistic. So that's just the way I did it. But you can do it however you want. So I'm gonna do the Gaussian blur to make a sort of blurred border, and I'm gonna click OK. So I don't know. This might look. Yeah, I mean it does look a little bit strange. I mean because I blurred it using a rectangle selection tool, it does have a kind of visible line here, which I don't know. I'm not sure. I think if you sort of look at it the way it is, it's not that kind of annoying. It's I mean, unless you're like an ultra perfectionist, I think it looks good the way it is right now. But something else, I suppose another thing that you can do is if you're not happy with the Gaussian blur effect and I think this is basically the best way to do it. I think you're just going to have to deal with the fact that you've got a kind of a bit of an outline. You can kind of try blurring the outline itself, but that's going to create a new outline, so it's kind of a sort of a paradox. But I think this looks okay, and if you start blurring out all the way around the border, you get a kind of nice sort of blurry effect, and it looks like the picture is blending in fully into the background. So I think, yeah, I don't think this looks too bad. I think if you look at it like the way it is, and you just kind of look at the picture without searching for faults, which is what you should be doing if you're looking at it from like a distance in like a coffee shop window or whatever, you can't really see the line of the blurs. But if you're not happy with that, again, you can do the black outline thing that I did before this. Or if your background has a block color, so it's just one color at the top, you can do this sort of little bit kind of sketchy thing. I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but I'm gonna select the color picker tool. So I'm not sure. I'd suggest that you do the other two options, so the black outline or the blur tool. But you can do this if you really don't want to have any visible lines, but only on the top. So you can only do this on the top. You can only do this on the top border. You can't really do it on the sides because that's got lots of colors and like lights and stuff. So just select the color picker tool and click on this kind of click on the bottom layer. And sorry, I accidentally opened the properties. Click on the bottom layer. Now click on the bottom layer and just click on the color picker. Pick this color at the top, and you get this kind of slightly sort of dark greyish, sort of burgundy purple-ish sort of weird color. Now what you have to do is just get your rectangle select tool, zoom. So what you have to do is just get your rectangle select tool, zoom in to the picture right up to this kind of big, quite tall building, and just kind of delete it. Just press delete. There should be a delete button on your keyboard. That's usually what I use. That's just the most convenient. And what you got to do is just fill it with this color. That should kind of be okay. You can actually just undo it. Get the color picker. So just undo it. If you're not happy with it, get the color picker tool back up. Pick a color closer to the edge of the building. Delete the building again and delete it, and then fill it in with the picked color. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Yeah, that looks a lot better if you pick it closer. And now keep that color up. So keep your color up. Keep that color that you picked on your colors tab. And now what you got to do is make a new layer again using add new layer or Shift Control N if you want to be like a pro showing off your moves and stuff. Whatever you want. Go to that layer that you just created and go to the colors window, click more, and make sure that you still got this color up that you just picked. This is going to be your primary color. We're going to use the gradient tool now. So to use the gradient tool, you always need a primary and a secondary color because it goes from one color to the next. So get your primary color to the picked one and click the secondary color. That should be white by default. For you it might be different, but no matter what it is, change it. You got to change it. You got to go all the way down to this opacity alpha thing and drag it all the way down so that it's completely invisible. Now I'm going to get to my point in a moment. Now click on the gradient. So our primary color is this kind of burgundy color, and the secondary color is invisible. So go to the linear gradient and get your linear gradient and just click it about here. So all sort of quite close to the border, but still leaving a bit of space for the gradient to work. And now, I think, I don't know. I'm not sure whether this is going to work. Again, I suggest you guys just stick to the regular black outline or the blurred outline thing. I'm not sure. This is a very sort of oh, there you go, and that kind of works. Yeah, I guess that works. There you go. That's what I was aiming for. So you get a kind of blurred outline without a kind of visible line. So to make the gradient completely straight, you can hold down Shift, and that draws a more or less straight line. You have to kind of align it around a little bit so that it's a straight diagonal line and not like a straight horizontal. And I'll deselect it by clicking the rectangle select tool or whatever tool you want. And there you go, that kind of creates a blurred outline, and now it looks like it's mostly blended in. So yeah, that's it. Those are the blending tools for you guys. It's quite a simple thing to blend two images together. You don't necessarily have to draw borders and do what I did with the gradient and the color picker. That's just some extra examples that I showed you guys in case that's the sort of thing you want to do. You want to make it more artistic or whatever. But yeah, what you've ended up with is like this cool city night landscape picture of like a woman holding a coffee cup, you know, looking into the sky, thinking of what she's gonna order next, or like maybe she's waiting for like a friend to show up, and you know he or she's not showing up, and she's just like, oh, where the hell's, you know, this dude or this friend of mine? She's like looking thoughtfully into the sky, and you've got the city background in the background, obviously. Yeah, you can use this for whatever you want, and you can blend. You can basically blend whatever you want. You can blend. You can blend a picture of Boris Johnson if you want into the city landscape of London. You can blend two. You can blend two. You can blend two images of nature together. So, for example, if you want to blend a picture of a forest into a picture of a mountain, so you get a picture of a mountain, you get a picture of like lots of mountains, like beautiful mountains with like snow on top, and then you get a picture of a forest, and then you get them each on a layer, and you blend them together using whatever blending mode you want, and you blend those together, and then it looks like a sort of nice foresty, mountainy landscape. So this is very useful. Again, you know, really cool sort of tool. It just shows you how many things you can do with Paint.net. It's a completely free software. Again, absolutely wonderful. I love using this software. It is so simple. You know, it is very up to date. You know, the guys who make it, the developers, keep updating it. The forums are always active. You can actually have a look at, you know, stuff on the Paint.net forums as well. You know, it's completely free as usual, and I think it's always going to be free. I don't think they're ever going to ask money for it, because it's such a good piece of software, and it's a very good alternative to Photoshop if you're not willing to pay lots of money for Photoshop. Obviously, you know, Photoshop is far more advanced. You can do lots of stuff with it, but you know, Paint.net is just there for you for free, and it's like this old reliable friend that's like always there for you if you don't want to spend money on like a more expensive friend. I'm not sure how good that analogy is, but there you go. So that's Paint.net for you, blending modes. Brilliant. Okay, so next up, what I'm going to be showing you guys is how to create a realistic paper effect. So just a brief explanation of what I'm going to be doing. This wasn't necessarily a request, this is just more something that I came up with. And again, something that I've been planning for a while, something that I've got in my little Word document that I have kept in my like documents folder, detailing all the all the plans that I have for Paint.net stores. So without further ado, once again, I am gonna start straight away. So paper effects. So basically, you want to make a greetings card. You want to make an animation involving some sort of paper. You want to make like that sort of cool cardboard effect. I know that websites, especially a couple of years ago, used to use this kind of cool sort of cardboard texture effect where they have like a torn piece of cardboard, and you can actually get like literally just pictures of cardboard on the internet, like a torn piece of cardboard, like add it to the background, and you know you're good to go. You can obviously do that. You can obviously just get a picture of like a cardboard texture. Some of them are going to have watermarks over it because some of them are like stock photos which cost you money, but some of them won't have watermarks. Or you can always just type in cardboard texture, no watermarks onto images or whatever. But today I'm going to be showing you how to actually make these from scratch. So some textures are going to be involved, but only in the way that I'm going to add the textures, and then I'm going to kind of reshape the texture to make a little piece of paper. So I'm going to make like a greetings card, make like a duct tape effect. So like a duct tape, sellotape, you'll probably know what I mean. So you get like tape and you like tape something to the wall. Anyway, let's get to it. So as usual, I'm probably gonna delete the history tab because I don't really like using history. I just find it kind of clogs up my screen. I think these three tools are the most useful. Oh, one more thing that I've been getting so many requests of, and I'm actually considering making like a separate video about this. Very important. Lots of people have been telling me this. If one of your windows, or every single one of your little tool windows, goes out, so you click the little exit, so like this. So yeah, oh, there you go. Oh my god, I've got all my... Oh no, they're all gone. What am I supposed to do? Oh my god. You're like commenting desperately on my tutorials asking for help. It's very simple, considering that you've got the latest version. So you should, if you downloaded Paint.net, you should always have the latest version because it updates automatically. So I'm going to show you how to do it in the latest version. You just go here to the top right corner, and there you go. You've got all the icons representing the tools. So if you exit the tools, if you accidentally close your tool windows, you can get them all up. So see, I can just get the tools out by clicking the red X, just like with every other type of window, that you use. And to get it back, you just go to the top right hand corner over here, and you just toggle them back in again. So very easy. I cannot believe how many people have been commenting with this. I've literally been replying to lots of comments, but I'm still getting comments. So that's how you do it. But without further ado, I'm actually going to exit history because I don't use history much. I'm going to start the paper thing. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making, first of all, a kind of greetings card sort of thing, which is, I believe, the easiest of the possibly 3, possibly 4 things that I'm going to be showing you guys. So a greetings card you usually buy new from a shop. So usually it's like a perfect square. It's not usually like aged parchment from like the 19th century. So you'll see what I mean when I get to like the next one. So I'm going to make like this sort of a rectangular shaped greetings card with a sort of 5 thickness line, which I used the shape tool to draw. I've actually already showed you guys how to use the shape tool earlier on with the cafe, with the coffee drinking picture, so you know, you guys presumably know how to do that already. But in case you don't, you just click shape, set it to the draw shape outline, and go on the rectangle one and adjust your brush width to whichever one you want. Now I've got the shape up, I'm just going to readjust the size. What I can actually do just do is just undo it all, because I think I've made this a little bit too small. But you know, that's just part of, you know, using Paint.net. You always make mistakes. That's actually roughly the same size of the one that I deleted. Again, you know, you're going to make mistakes if you're going to use this piece of software. So there you go. I'm just going to drag it roughly to the middle. Now, this looks like the sort of template of a postcard. You can just, you know, fill this with white to kind of give the impression of having paper there, and just put whatever you want on it, like a birthday cake, get well soon, sorry for messing up your life kind of thing. There's kind of greetings cards that they have in shops, obviously. A lot of them are birthday cards, but not all of them. So you can just put a picture there. However, to go one step further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on layers. I'm going to go on rotate/zoom. Right, this is going to be, ooh, look at that, slightly more advanced, but still, you know, nothing is that difficult in Paint.net. So you go to the roll/rotate tab here, and then you get this little spherical shaped sort of button sort of thing. And now I'm gonna just hold this down with my left mouse button, and I'm just gonna drag it like this. You see, I think you probably can tell what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to sort of make it as though the greetings card is open. So like this, you can actually make like a virtual sort of e-greeting card. I'm not sure whether people still actually do these, but it looks kind of cool. I mean, you can add this in a sort of cartoon. You can add this on a website in case you're trying to demonstrate what your cards look like. If you've got like a greetings card business going on, you can actually demonstrate what your cards look like if they're like opened by these sort of cartoon illustrations. So just drag this little roll thing set to the side. I'm just thinking of how I'm going to angle this. So I think, first of all, I'm going to go for like this sort of angle, and then maybe we can try another one. I think this tutorial is already getting pretty long, considerably longer than my usual ones, but I guess this is a sort of it's back sort of return edition. So I've got this sort of tilted postcard, but postcards usually have obviously two pages, a front and a back. So I'm obviously gonna make another one. I mean, what you could do actually, and what I kind of forgot to do, is you could actually copy the postcard when it was still a rectangle, and then copy it now so that you get the back page. But now I've already kind of tilted it, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a new one, because it's not like too complicated a shape to sort of remake sort of thing, and you can obviously just kind of resize it now. We are kind of running into a bit of a problem here, because I was worried about this actually, because if you just tilt it to the side, I'm not sure whether you're actually going to be able to see the back page. So I suppose what you could do is cheat a little bit and make it a little bit less accurate by kind of hiding more of the card behind the front than it usually would appear in real life. So like realistically I put it to about here and then delete the bits around it to make it more realistic, but ideally I'm just going to cheat a little bit and put it here so that it looks just like an open card. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the eraser tool and we're going to delete all the bits that we don't want. So the end result should be you're going to delete the bits of the normal rectangle that are over the foreground, so that are placed on top of what should be the foreground, which is the tilted rectangle. So the tilted rectangle should be on the top layer, and the normal rectangle, so the regular sort of rectangle, should be on the bottom. So I'm just going to delete these bits. So this bit, obviously your advantage here is that you've got two separate layers. So no matter how, no matter if I put the eraser tool over the bottom layer, it's not going to delete it because you got two layers. So I can only erase the top layer when I've got the top layer selected. So that's your advantage here. So I'm just going to delete all the way down. There you go. Okay, I mean that doesn't look too bad. It isn't perfect. Okay, it's not perfect. It could be better, and I think I'm gonna try and make another one after this. I mean that looks okay. I guess that looks reasonable because it does look like the greetings card is sort of open, and I think if you put that on a website, I think you would be able to demonstrate, fairly reasonably the kind of thing that you're sort of going for. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get my primary colour to white. There you go, and then I'm going to use my paint bucket tool and fill in both of the layers. So this one with, oh sorry, I accidentally filled in my top layer. I'm going to go back to the bottom layer, the background, and I'm going to fill it with white. Although I think if we're going for a realistic greeting card, I think we might want to make it, I don't know why that switched to pink randomly. That's very strange. Paint.net's got mind of its own now. I'm going to darken it a little bit because I don't want. I think if it's like a perfect white, I think it looks a little bit sort of too shiny, kind of unrealistic. So I'm gonna adjust the sort of yellow and make it a little bit more yellowish. So yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a lot more realistic. And obviously, this still looks a bit weird. I am still gonna adjust the actual the shades, so I'm going to make the edges of it darker. I think this actually looks quite reasonable. So I'm going to go back to this layer. Now the problem that we're going to have here, if I make the bottom layer invisible, the problem that we're going to have here is we've got this little rectangle is an open rectangle. It's not even a rectangle, so it's going to fill in the whole canvas. So the way we're going to solve this is we're going to get this layer back, and we're going to try and make a line just underneath sort of the original the top bit, so the top bit of the card. We're going to make the line smaller than the top layer, than the line in the top layer. So the line in the top layer was 5 thickness. This line is going to be 2 thickness, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got the top layer selected, so the layer with the half rectangle, and I'm going to drag this line all the way down so that it's hidden beneath the top layer. So it's hidden. It's just hidden beneath the 2 black lines, or over the black lines, and I'm gonna Hey, so it doesn't look like anything's changed, but if I make the bottom layer invisible, something has changed. I've added an extra line here so that it manages to fill in the whole rectangle with, ideally, the color of the top card. So I'm going to select it with select this color from the bottom layer using the color picker tool. One again, brilliant tool. I love this tool, one of the most useful ones. I seem to think that every single tool is like the most useful one, but do you know what? I think they're all just generally quite useful. You go to more again, and I'm going to make it a little bit darker because it's in the background, and maybe there's going to be like a shadow cast over it. So I'm going to make it not too dark, but yeah, I think actually that might be a bit too dark. Yeah, you can kind of experiment with this. Go back to the bottom layer, select it again with the color picker, and then adjust it again. Yeah, that should be good. Oops. Made another mistake. Make sure that you got the top layer selected, obviously. Okay, so now I've got them all filled up. So this looks quite reasonable. This looks like a sort of open greetings card. It's not perfect, obviously, but I think it's going to suit what we're going to do. Obviously, you can actually perfect it. You can make it even better by kind of adjusting the top bit. Obviously, you can play around, you know, as much as you want with this roll slash rotate thing. Very useful tool, and you can just tilt it even more. You can just like tilt it even more, put it over this. You can like put it on the top layer. That looks even more. But I personally don't really like that. I think that looks a bit like that's a bit excessive. I'm just going to keep it at this. I think that's fine. Obviously, if you don't like it, you can just have a go on your own. I've showed you what tools to use, and you can tilt it as much as you want. But now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a picture to accompany the greetings card, because that's usually what greeting cards have. So let's go. Okay, so what I've got here now is a birthday cake. So what people usually do with these greeting cards is they get like a cartoon sort of clip art birthday cake. But I wanted to go in a different direction. I wanted to actually get like a real birthday cake up. So I searched for a picture of an actual birthday cake, like a proper real one with icing, stars, little icing sugary things on top. And I'm going to do this because I think it just looks kind of better, and I think because everyone usually goes for the cartoon, I thought I'd go for something different. Also, I'm going to get to show you guys how to kind of crop out an image, which I've actually done before in tutorial number 2. But I thought, you know, I suppose I can do it again if it involves, you know, cutting stuff out. So I am going to speed this process up, and people have asked me why I speed it up when I cut things out. But the reason I do that is because these tutorials are quite long anyway, and if I kind of if I keep the regular speed on the cutting out bit, that's just going to last for like 5 minutes, and I don't want 5 minutes of just me cutting out an image, because that's so boring. People are going to lose interest, they're going to like go somewhere else, they're going to leave the video, and I don't want that. I want to keep your attention, so I tend to I try to keep these tutorials like a decent, reasonable length, so that's why I speed up the bit where I cut out the actual image and crop it to size. So that's what I'm going to do now. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys when the image is kind of cut out. Okay, so I've got it. I've cut out the cake. I've removed all of the background using the lasso tool. So for those of you who don't know already, the way you cut out stuff is you get the lasso tool and you just kind of cut around the bit that you want to cut out, and you just press delete on your keyboard. Sorry, I just deleted a bit of the cake there. That was just a bit of demonstration. So there you go, you've got the cake, you've got it cut out now, so you've got a transparent background behind it, which is what we're going to need to be able to put the cake onto the greetings card. So we're going to get this rectangle select tool, and we're going to resize the cake so that it fits onto the card. Now this cake is very big. This cake is like, I don't know who it was made for, but he must have been like a really quite a loved member of the family, because it's quite a big cake. It hasn't got any numbers on it. It has got a number of stars. I'm not sure whether that necessarily indicates how old the person is, but we're not going to go too much into this. It's just a tutorial, you know. We're not going to analyze the cake. Okay, so we're just resizing the image. We're actually going to need to like cut out. Like we're actually going to need to like make it very small. I mean, this like cake, it was very big, and the card is quite small that I made. But I think this should be okay. Yeah, do you know what? I think that looks okay. So you can leave it like this, or you can adjust it so that it fits the tilt of the actual picture. So, oops, that kind of, I mean, I don't know, I think, does that actually adjust exactly to what I did? Because once you've already tilted something and you start tilting something else, it's going to automatically adjust it to your previous kind of adjustments, if you kind of get what I mean. But I'm gonna reset it to the defaults by clicking these little blue arrows on the right side, because I just want to do it again. So I'm just going to start rotating it again, just a little bit, so that it kind of, I'm not going to rotate it as far as the actual card itself. That's going to look a bit weird, I think. So I'm just going to do it a little bit, sort of quarter of the way to the actual thing. And do you know what? I think that looks, yeah, I think that looks really good. And now, what you can even do here is you can adjust the greetings card even more by creating a new layer. So obviously Shift Control N is what I usually do, but you can also use the Add New Layer button, as I've said at least 2 times before. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the cake once again using the rectangle selection tool. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it to the layer below the cake that I just made, so layer number 4. And now you've got 2 cakes. The reason that is I'm going to make the cake have a shadow behind it, so it looks more like the cake is kind of on the card, and it's not just kind of, I mean, it doesn't look as good if it doesn't have a shadow. You've got to have the shadow effect. That's kind of a must. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep the bottom cake selected, the cake on the bottom layer, that is. And now what you're going to do is you've got to lower your brightness all the way down, click OK, and then you've got to go to adjustments again, go to hue/saturation, and then drag your lightness down. So get your lightness all the way down to 0 now, sorry, to -100 in this case. And now your bottom, your bottom cake layer should be completely black. So if I just kind of drag it here, you can see that it's got like a black border. So now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to try and kind of maybe drag it around like out here a little bit, and then I'm going to effects, I'm going to go to effects, go to blur, Gaussian blur, again one of the tools that I use regularly, and then I'm going to go and blur it out. And there you go, it looks like a kind of nice shadowy effect on the cake, so that it doesn't just look like the cake's been, oh that's too big. Oh dear, that is too big. Sorry. I forgot to wait for it to render, so it just kind of lags out, and it ended up getting too big. Yeah, that's good. That is perfect. 17 is good. Okay, right, there we go. 17 is the perfect Gaussian blur for this particular image. And there you go, that does look very much like a greetings card, but I'm still not finished. I'm pretty sorry for this lasting this long, but you know, I guess Paint on Net can be a little bit more complicated and time consuming. So I'm going to select the text bar tool, obviously, and we're going to write happy birthday, obviously. So something you don't want to forget is actually wishing someone a happy birthday on their birthday. That is like quite, you know, unorthodox and quite bad. So what I could do is I could select the colour of the cake and make the text the colour of the cake, which is like a nice sort of cool personal touch. So I'm going to write happy birthday using some random font. I have no idea. I can use literally any font. I don't know. I think I'm going to use impacts to make an impact. Hey, you get it? Sorry, that was terrible. I'm going to use the so I'm sorry, that was awful. I'm going to use the impact to write happy birthday. Without further ado, I'm just thinking whether I should write it in capitals. I think it's going to look better if it's in capitals. Yeah, that looks better. So happy birthday. I'm not going to write the age, because I think you can just fill it in with whatever age you want the kind of birthday to be. And obviously you can get this card once it's ready, and you can send it by email, obviously, because it's kind of got a 3D effect. So if you just got like a flat rectangle, you can actually print that out onto like an A5 sheet of paper and make a birthday, or like an A4, fold it in half, get a birthday card. But like this, I think it would be best if you sent this by kind of an email as like an e-card, or you posted this on a website, used it as a graphic, whatever, or used it in like a cartoon. I mean, there's loads of ways you can do this. These again, just examples. So I'm just gonna select part of the birthday text, and I'm gonna drag a bit of it down here. I'm gonna select a smaller part of it. Some of it's disappeared into the cake, and I'm just gonna drag it up. So now it's kind of more in the middle, because if the two words are next to one another, it kind of looks a bit weird. Again, I think that looks okay, except for the fact that I think I'm gonna get the cake. I'm gonna merge the top layer, the top cake layer, with the bottom shadow cake. The shadow cake. That sounds epic. Like, I don't know about you, but I think the word shadow cake just sounds pretty good. So I'm gonna get the shadow cake, and I'm gonna merge it with the original colourful cake, and I'm gonna drag the two merged layers down to the bottom of the card. I'm going to merge the two cakes together. I'm just going to drag it down again. Sorry, I cut out the top part of the cake. That was a mistake. I'm going to drag the text down again. So I'm going to drag the text down once again, deselect it, go and rotate / zoom, go on OK, and I'm going to drag that to the middle. And there you go. You got pretty much a kind of, yeah, I think that's an almost ready greetings card. Obviously, you can customize it even more by making some new layers. I'm just going to select the line tool, go to 7 thickness. I'm just going to make a little line here to kind of underline the happy birthday, make it look even more neat and kind of cool. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe make an overline here. Yeah, that looks quite good. Yeah, I like that. You can even go further. You know, I mean, this looks pretty good. I mean, let's admit, it looks pretty good just the way it is. Make all of it visible, and there you go. You got yourself a kind of nice little birthday card. Yeah, you can like add sort of text effects. You can obviously kind of multiply this layer and go onto adjustments, go to hue / saturation, make the bottom layer of the text black, sort of drag it out here. Yeah, there you go. You got like a 3-dimensional text effect. I think that do you know what? I think that looks like a really good birthday card. I think if you send that to someone, they're gonna be like, wow, I've got a friend out there that's like really investing time in my birth. Okay, so one final little kind of fine sort of touch that I'm going to add, one little touch, is I'm going to make a draw filled shape ellipse thing. So I'm going to make it at the bottom, and I think some of you might be able to work out what I'm doing here. I'm going to make a shadow effect, so I'm going to make it look like I've placed a birthday card onto a flat surface, which makes it look even cooler. Okay, I think that's fine. Gaussian blur. And now, this is literally the final touch. I'm going to go back to layer properties, and I'm going to make it less visible. And there you go. There you go. That's literally the final touch. So there you go. That's your finished birthday card addressed to Boris Johnson. Obviously, you can't actually see that on the finished product. That's going to have to be like a little Easter egg. But yeah, this is the final greetings card, birthday card in this case, but you can write whatever you want. Like the whole purpose of this tutorial is so that I just show you how to do it, and then you can add a name, you know, you can add Boris onto the front of it, you can add whatever cake you want, you can cut out a cake and put it on, you know, exactly what you want. Obviously, yeah, you can just customize it, and there you go. That's your greetings card finished. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you end up making your own greetings card, obviously. Okay, so that was the final tutorial. Now, I know that I promised you guys that I was going to show you how to make like parchment effects, so like old aged paper, and I was going to show you guys how to make like a sellotape / duct tape effect, so how to put sort of tape over paper so that it looks like it's stuck onto a surface. However, the greetings card took pretty long. I did show you how to tilt paper, I showed you how to cut out a cake, I showed you how to do some 3D text effects, I showed you how to make a greetings card. So I think that and the cafe thing, I think that's fine for one tutorial. And I'm really sorry guys, but I think I'm running over time, and I think that's literally all I've got time for this tutorial. However, I am not going to leave another massive gap between the next tutorial. So the next tutorial should be coming to you in about 2 weeks, so a maximum of 2 weeks time. And I think you're going to get Paint.net tutorial number 10. And in that tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to add a duct tape effect, so sellotaped onto a surface. I'm going to show you guys how to do like an aged parchment effect, and I'm going to show you guys loads more stuff, maybe even like YouTube stuff. A YouTube special should be coming sometime in the future. I don't really know like when I'm going to make it exactly, because I mean that's obviously hard to do because I need to collect all the requests, and make like specific YouTube stuff, which it takes like quite a long time because YouTube is changing all the time, and you have to kind of cope with all the changes and adjust your kind of graphic design stuff to that. Yeah, but I think I showed you guys like quite a few things today: how to draw lines, how to make 3D shapes, how to do blending, which I've never showed you guys before. So I think that should be good for like a return, a little comeback. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and as usual, I hope you guys put it to use and make stuff that you want. I'm always happy to read comments of people saying that they found it useful, that they've been making channel art with it, that they've been making cartoons with it, because that's why I do this, is to help you guys. That's why I do requests, and it's good to be back. I'm happy to be back. I'm glad to be back, and yeah, it feels good. It feels good because I like making these, despite the fact that I haven't made one in ages. But they should be coming out more regularly now. Again, I'm sorry for my absence. I'm sorry for the fact that I haven't been making stuff for ages. But yeah, it's back on track. But yeah, Paint.net Tutorials are officially back, and Boris Johnson is going to be back as well sooner or later. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this Paint.net tutorial, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.